we have the Texas Longhorns. Texas was coming off a record of 12-2 in the 2023 season, a season that ended in the semifinals of the college football playoff. They were also the Big 12 champion last year. Moving over to the SEC this year, they finished with a record of 12-3. They lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game, but did advance to the playoffs and ultimately lost in the semifinals to eventual champ Ohio State. The coach of Texas this year was Steve Sarkisian in his fourth season, and Texas finished with a ranking of 4 in the AP poll and 3rd in the coaches poll. So, Burrow, what do you think about the Texas Longhorns in 2024?
Thought that they finished not meeting expectations. They were picked by a lot of places to be national champions this year. So for them, it was really national championship or bust. And they were given all of the help in the world that they could possibly get. They got one of the easiest schedules in the SEC. The only hard team that they had to play was Georgia and lost twice. And, not winning the conference. It was good that they were able to make the playoff because they still had a strong resume. I mean, they won the games that they needed to win, the rest of the year. It was just not winning the national championship, not even making it to the national championship. That's got to be a disappointment for the Texas Longhorns with all the expectations that they had coming in.
Yeah. I'm going to take it a little bit in a different direction. I think this was actually a very successful season for Texas. Despite them coming off of a playoff appearance last year, they were moving to a new conference, and nobody knew exactly how Texas and Oklahoma were going to fit into the SEC. We knew that Texas was kind of built like an SEC school. Obviously, Sarkisian had experience at Alabama, had great recruiting classes and built up a good team. But they did lose in the playoff last year, and you didn't know. Oklahoma came in and obviously did not have the same success. They got off to a hot start. They the first half of the season, they were beating people pretty bad. They had one of the best defenses in the country all season long. But when they hit that Georgia game, Georgia kind of exposed some of their issues. And they did come up short against the best teams they played, which was playing Georgia twice and Ohio State. There's not a lot of other teams in the country that could beat those teams clearly either. This was a second straight playoff appearance for them, which, where they were 6-7 years ago has come a long way. And they've got a bright future. Arch Manning looks like the future of the program. To me, I think this was a successful year. They still made the conference championship and they lost in overtime. They were able to kind of collect themselves back up and win 2 playoff games and, almost beat Ohio State. If they didn't fumble the ball at the 3-yard line going in, it could have been a tie game, and who knows where it goes from there. So for me, I think this was a successful season for Texas. My grade for Texas this year was a B+. Burrow, what's your grade for Texas?
So I agree it was a successful season. They did make the playoff, made it pretty far into the playoff. But just with the expectations, you've got a returning seasoned quarterback, which is usually the most important piece of a team. And to not even make it to the Natty, yeah, it was a successful season, but still disappointing if you're a Texas Longhorn fan. So since they lost the SEC championship and just made the playoff, even though they won a couple games there, I'm actually going with a B- here, because so think for reference, if Georgia's a B, won the conference, made the playoff, Texas didn't win the conference, and probably should have. I mean, they had every opportunity to do that, but they didn't do it. So I'm going B-.
All right. So if I'm at a B+ and you're at a B-, I think we just call it an average and say we're going to go with the Nitro Show grade for Texas as a B.